Hi, everyone, and welcome. We're really glad you could join us for Life After Pitzer. Whether you're a prospective student, a parent, family member that's here joining us, just wanting to learn more, thanks for taking the time to be here. The goal of this session is really to give you all a sense of what a Pitzer education looks like in action, especially after graduation. And we'll be doing that through the voices of our alumni today. We have a few of them here on the panel with us. Tonight isn't just about outcomes, though, but also the journey that helped the students get there. Now, I want to pass it over to my co-moderator, Krista. She's going to share a little bit about herself and her own experience, and then I'll introduce myself, and then we'll introduce the panelists. So, Krista, I'll let you share about yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Krista Parker-Cabon, and I'm a graduate from 03 of Pitzer, and I currently actually have a second-year student at Pitzer. So I'm seeing Pitzer through multiple lenses here, and my experience at Pitzer was amazing. And 23 years later, I'm still loving returning to campus and being part of it. And so I'm so thrilled to be here tonight and to help answer questions, share experiences, and learn more about the people that are on our panel.
What a unique experience, huh? Being an alum and then having your own child here.
Yeah, I was thrilled when she was born, I was like, she's a Pitzer kid. But she had to find her own way there. And when she did, I was just overjoyed, couldn't wait to wear orange again.
She changed your world and then you knew she wanted to change the world. So Pitzer was it for her. I love it. Well, thanks for sharing, Krista. My name is Andre Argyes. I am the Director of Career Services here at Pitzer. I really have the privilege of working with students from day one here on campus, their first year, all the way through graduation and even beyond. As our students are really just either trying to figure out who they are, what truly matters to them, or how they really want to show up in the world. So with Pitzer, you've heard this all along from admissions presentations. We really hold true to our values, and it's really at the heart of who Pitzer is. And it's truly what guides our students in how they learn and grow. So those core values: social responsibility, intercultural understanding, interdisciplinary learning, student engagement, and environmental sustainability. These aren't just words, though, right, that we throw on a website because we think that they sound great. They actually do show up in the classroom. They show up in the internship experiences and the research opportunities that students participate in. It's really in the way that students learn to think critically and work with others. The values are really core to who we are. Now, from the career services perspective, we support students throughout their time here. You might even hear from some of our panelists today about support and resources that they took a part of, but in three major ways. So the first is through discovery. So we really want to help your students understand their interests and discover their values, right? Like, what are my strengths and what gives me a sense of purpose when I wake up in the morning? The second part of this is the exploration phase. And that exploration phase is really where students get to test these ideas through internships or research or on-campus jobs or other experiential learning opportunities. And lastly, it's through achieving. And this is where we help students really build those skills, build their networks, build their confidence so that they can pursue life after Pitzer. And life after Pitzer might be work. It might be grad school. It might be a fellowship. It might be still trying to figure out, right, what success looks like for them. But wherever they are on that journey, we want to really help them achieve. The last thing I want to say before going to the panelists, because you're not here to learn from me, you're here to learn from them, is actually something that's pretty timely. This week, actually, the Harvard Business Review released a podcast featuring a top management consulting firm. And the one thing that really stood out to us as we were listening to this was their growing emphasis on hiring students with liberal arts backgrounds. Check it out yourself. There might be a link that's shared. If not, check it out, the Harvard Business Review. He talked about how, especially in an age of AI, as we're finding ourselves in, what matters most to him as, being top of the company is qualities like resilience, the ability to work well with people, and the ability to learn new things quickly. He also emphasized things like leadership, judgment, truly original thinking, which are exactly the kinds of skills that a place like Pitzer is really designed to develop. And I know you're going to get to hear a lot of that firsthand from our panelists today. So with that, I'm excited to turn it over to our alumni panel. Tonight, you're going to hear directly from graduates who each took different paths. They studied different things, and they're actually all doing very meaningful work in a wide range of fields. So I'm going to ask our panelists to share briefly just a quick introduction, and then we have a few questions that we'll ask you before the Q&A at the end. So can you share your name, what you majored in at Pitzer, and your current occupation? So I'm going to go ahead and start with Caitlin.
All right, I'm glad you're starting with me first because I definitely would have forgotten the questions if I was later on. But yeah, my name is Caitlin. I majored in psychology and I minored in Spanish at Pitzer. And I graduated this past May, and I am now trying to start my career in psychology. I want to eventually become a therapist. I'm working at the Ronald McDonald House Charities Bay Area right now. Man.
I love it. Awesome. And thank you for saying when you graduated, because that was absolutely something that I should have asked. Next is going to be Jana.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jana. I graduated in 2020, an interesting year to graduate. I studied organismal biology during my time at Pitzer, and I am now a wildlife care specialist at the San Diego Zoo, and I work with the giant pandas. On top of that, I'm also completing my master's degree in biology right now through Miami University.
So, Janet, you're probably going to see my sister-in-law and my 3 nieces and nephews. They have a pass and they go to the San Diego Zoo every Friday. So
I'll look out for them.
You see them running around. They literally go every Friday. Maya, we'll go to you next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maya. I graduated in 2007. My major was media studies, and I have a minor in art history. And I am the lead video producer for Tiny Desk concerts at NPR.
May or may not have seen a few of those. I love it. Cool. Well, thank you all for being here. And I'm going to let Krista go ahead. We've got a few questions here that we'll ask you. And again, just a reminder to all of our attendees, if you have questions for the panelists as they are sharing, go ahead and type those in the Q&A, and we'll get to those afterward as well.
All right, I'm excited to get started. All right, so whoever wants to go first, raise your hand or just shout out. So what drew you to Pitzer, and how did it change your career path?
Oh, hold on, really quick. We have one more panelist who just joined us.
I apologize. I just ran in, hit some
No,
traffic. Thank you.
you made it. We literally just got to the first question. So Susie, thanks for being here. We just did brief introductions, which is your name, what year you graduated from Pitzer and what you studied, and then your current occupation.
Yeah. My name is Susie Warren. I graduated from Pitzer in 1978. My late son graduated in 2001, so I'm a parent as well, and have had numerous nephews and friends and family members who have gone to Pitzer. I majored in double majored. In those days, we all did a double major, or most of us, in psychology, and I was in the first group to graduate in organizational studies.
Wow, that's awesome.
I was 22 years a teacher, principal, and district office administrator in public schools, got my doctorate, and then went on and did another 20 plus at the university level, graduate university level, as a professor, administrator, directing master's programs. I directed a DEI center, and then ended at CGU with an evaluation in the research and evaluation center. And I still have one responsibility and work, and that is a children's nonprofit called Project Think that I co-founded with my former teaching partner in 1980 on the Pitzer campus. And we still come back and we'll be celebrating 43 years. We were off 3 years with the pandemic, and we have about 300 kids each 3-week session, 4 to 14-year-olds on Pitzer's campus, doing all the things that Pitzer students do. So we'll talk about that more later if anyone's interested. Thank you.
Love it. It's one of my favorite times of year when we see all those students running around.
Oh, thank you.
Well, so glad you're here. Krista, I'll let you go ahead and ask that question again, just so
I
students are aware. Yeah.
I will do that. So, what drew you to Pitzer, and how did it shape your career path? Who'd like to go first?
I can go. So what drew me to Pitzer was I went to a very small K through 12 school growing up. My graduating class was around 80 kids. So I was looking for a small school. I knew I wanted to go to a liberal arts college, and then stumbled upon the Claremont colleges, and Pitzer just spoke to me with its core values and its mission. The environmental sustainability definitely stood out to me. That was always an interest in the back of my head, but was never flushed out in high school. So I went to college thinking I wanted to be like pre-vet, go to veterinary school after college. But through the courses at Pitzer, and honestly being a liberal arts degree and seeing all those other things and getting foundational knowledge and all these other concepts, really helped me kind of pivot to what I'm doing now. It showed me that there are more options than just veterinary school if you want to work with animals. And yeah, so it just definitely formed who I am today and showed me the direction I needed to go.
Would anyone else like to answer that as well?
I feel like I have like a similar response, which is, I also went to a small high school. I think my graduating class was like 100 or so. And yeah, I always knew I wanted to go to a liberal arts college. And to be honest, I knew that it had to be in California. So it kind of narrowed things a bit for me. I have family who went to Pomona who like talked great things about the 5 Cs, and yeah, just going out and visiting, like I had like a gut feeling like this is where I belong. And yeah, I mean, it shaped me in like 1,000,001 ways. And I majored in media studies, and like at the time, this was kind of the boom of YouTube was while I was in college, and it was kind of a place to practice what I was learning through my major. So yeah, I mean, everything for me happened at Pitzer, and now I work on YouTube. So it I can talk more about it later, but yeah, it was a great decision for me.
Wonderful.
I would say Pitzer really helped form who I am. I had no idea coming to Pitzer. It felt right. It was, I visited Pitzer and Pomona, and of course many others, and my father wanted me to pick Pomona, and somehow Pitzer just felt right. But everything about Pitzer in terms of from small class sizes with faculty who promoted research alongside of them and promoted getting involved in whatever that academic subject was, all of those things, to the study abroad program where I stayed an extra semester and was able to do research with top researchers from Europe in this field in psycholinguistics. I mean, just those opportunities to get to work alongside of the professor, not a TA, but of this person who's in the forefront of that field, really got me excited to the point where I was spiraling and wanting to go on and do more. And I didn't realize at the time, especially the parts about interest in research and publishing and that work, that I would later return to that. But that, and of course for me, the social justice piece has been the thread throughout, because that was very much part of everything we did at Pitzer, was thinking about responsibility and what is our part in making this world a better place. And I apologize if I didn't hit the question. My grandson came in when you were giving the question. I was trying to guess the question.
No, you did perfect, Susie. Thank you. Would anyone else like to answer that question?
Yeah, I can answer it as well. I can't necessarily speak to the career aspect of the question, but I feel like one of my favorite questions always is why did you pick Pitzer? I I had a little bit of a different experience in regards to like what some of the panelists have said. I came from a big public high school. I knew I wanted small classes. I wanted that individual kind of one-on-one with my professors and just faculty in general. And that was a big draw for me. I had not heard about the Claremont colleges before September of my senior year of high school. So I learned about them. I really fell in love with Pitzer, and like many people say, the core values really spoke to me and were what ultimately did draw me to Pitzer, especially in regards to sustainability and social justice.
Yeah. Wonderful. And I love hearing all of this because, and I'm sure Susie, you can speak to this as well. I mean, it's the core values and the development and the bonds and the, like you were talking about, the small class sizes and the working with your professors. It hasn't changed since its inception. It's only grown and become better. So it's just fantastic.
I love it. Well, Maya and Jana, I have you beat. My graduating class for high school was 63. So I know all too well what that small class size is like. So my next question here for you all is, what skills or experiences from Pitzer gave you an edge, right? When you feel like you're looking at your peers, looking to break into a certain industry or where you are now, what skills or experiences specifically help shape that for you?
I guess I would say it was what I think we all strive for in the field of education, and that is that connection to the real world. So while we were this almost radical social justice place back in the 70s and the beginning years, I was still part of that beginning, not quite a woman of the 60s, but we were always grounded in what we were doing in the classes and studying how that impacts the world and what our role could be. So I feel like it's that Pravada Futuri, looking to the future and what are we doing and how are we going to impact the future, that brought relevance to the classes, not just studying about something. I really appreciated that. And again, having faculty members who, I can't tell you how many times I ate dinners at faculty members' houses and met with them out of class because we were able to do that, and we were encouraged and invited to work alongside of them on things that were impactful.
Thanks for that, Susie. Who else would like to share skills or experiences from Pitzer?
From my experience specifically, I learned to edit video at Pitzer just because of the space. I had never seen like an edit bay in the basement there, and I was like fascinated by the experience of being in this like small dark room and like doing something on the computer that like really only I'm seeing. And yeah, my dad would always film like home movies growing up, but like I didn't know that video art and film and all this stuff was like something that I could learn in school, and like, to top that off, like something I could do in my life for my career. So yeah, I owe all of that experience and skill that I learned to Pitzer, and just so many different fun classes I took in my major. I feel like I still talk about them to friends and they're like, that was a class at your college? It was just awesome. And yeah, I think just like I was saying, like YouTube kind of started while I was in school, while I was at Pitzer. So a lot of the skills were actually, yeah, like being kind of put into the real world, machine a little bit. Like I would film my friends, and I like went to the like local pet store in Claremont and like filmed the snakes like eating their mice for the day. Like, I don't know, I would just film anything. And I actually experimented with like putting it on YouTube and like showing people and just kind of practicing my skills, and then also practicing sharing them and like showing people and being like proud of my art at the time, you know, and what I was making. So yeah.
That's awesome. And now you have to share one of those classes that you took, because if your friends didn't believe it, I think the whole group here needs to hear it.
I feel like it was like nature through film. And I was like, all we did was like watch nature documentaries and films, and I just like talked about them. That was a fun one. But also there was like media and sexuality, where we would like explore like themes of sexuality as seen through video art, and just like really like far out classes that I loved at the time.
Oh, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I'd say my main takeaway is probably just like confidence that was built in me. Like having small class sizes, you're working pretty intimately with these professors. I was able to go to office hours and build these relationships. And then through that and experiencing that at like a young age, it's transitioned to my career where I'm like confident speaking to bosses or doing public speaking events and going to seminars and other things. And so those are just like foundational skills that are definitely nourished at Pitzer. And on top of that, like I did a senior thesis and I did all this research, like very closely with professors, as Susie spoke to. And that definitely, like the research one-on-one with a professor instead of a TA or other students, just really helps develop those skills. And now I use them almost every day. So that was probably the best thing I took away from Pitzer.
I love that. And I know you mentioned about grad school, right? Like you're going to need letters of recommendation. And so when you're at a small school, I mean, you get to know your faculty, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I
wrote that for you.
Yeah, and I mean, I applied to grad school like 3 years out of college, and my professor still remembered me because I did a whole year-long thesis with them, and I was taking multiple classes by the same professor once you like really dive into your interest in your later years of college. So yeah, I still talk to them like every day. I gave a tour to one of my professors in her classes like just last year. So really great relationships are built.
That's awesome. I may need a tour too because I love the zoo. So just throw that out there. Me and my family. Awesome. Anybody else? Did everybody share? I think. Yeah, Krista, you're up.
Oh, sure. Do you want me to answer that question as well as in the lab? Or
Oh, I mean, sure. If you want to, go for it.
you know, one thing I will say is I did go to grad school after Pitzer, and I went to a large university for grad school. And you know, I was definitely one of the people that was ready to volunteer for everything and get into the mix with anything because I had that confidence that I gained at Pitzer, working with my professors and just being encouraged to go with your gut and see where it leads you. And I think that is invaluable these days. And I'm seeing that with my daughter. And now that she comes home on break and, you know, her friends are coming home, we were always the house to have all of her friends and stuff over, and having them talk about their experiences. And some of them have gone off to very large universities and others at small little arts ones, but as they're kind of not comparing them, but as they're discussing them in my mind, I'm listening to these and I'm just like, gosh, I'm so thankful that my daughter chose Pitzer because it's just, it warms my heart. And I mean, don't get me wrong, these other students are getting great educations too that fit their personality and fit who they are. But it's really invaluable what Pitzer offers.
Thanks for sharing.
Of course. Well, should we go on to the next question? All right. So, what advice would any of you give to incoming students? I know that's a big one.
So probably just to do what you were saying, but to take advantage of all of those opportunities. So if a professor mentions in class that if any of you are interested, I might be looking for some students to join in a study or do this or lead something, and to take advantage of those opportunities, because it may not even seem evident at first, the benefit of that or how that's going to benefit you in your future career, but I guarantee it will. Someday you will gain confidence, you'll gain leadership skills, you'll gain organizational skills, all of those things, and those opportunities are not available at a lot of schools, particularly larger schools. And like Caitlin, my high school graduating class was larger than Pitzer College was when I entered. So coming to this small place, and I was very fortunate over the years. Most of my professors were the founding professors of Pitzer. They were still there. And for years and years afterwards, they supported me in my career. So they do remember, and they are there to be not just a part even of your life. So I would say also continue those relationships, because they're invaluable. Get involved as much as possible.
That's like one of my favorite questions when I got asked as a student. I get asked now. It's like literally one of my favorites. I had the opportunity to lead orientation adventure at Pitzer twice, so I feel like I got to like welcome the freshmen a few times. So I definitely have shared my own advice quite a bit at Pitzer. But I would say like just don't be afraid to like get involved in anything that seems interesting, because it's like not only is it such a great way to meet people, you're going to learn all different types of things. You're going to learn what you like and what you don't, and really just be open to the new experiences. And it'll be such a good way to meet lifelong friends and just to learn so many things about yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say similar advice. Especially like going to a liberal arts college, they provide you the space to explore different classes on top of joining clubs, doing other things. And one of the biggest perks I found about Pitzer was that it's part of the larger consortium. So if you don't have something you like at Pitzer, you can join clubs across all 5 campuses. You can meet friends, take classes in other parts. So I think that also opened up a lot of opportunities. And yeah, I just can't recommend more just jumping into new opportunities and like trying new things while you're there, because you have those resources then, and you might not have them later in life. So jump in.
Yeah, I'm actually going to pop in here because I love that you mentioned the consortium benefits. From the career perspective, I mean, we share all employer access across all of the campuses, right? So for example, if Harvey Mudd had Microsoft coming to their campus, Pitzer students can go over and meet with those recruiters, meet with those employers. If Accenture was coming to Pitzer, Scripps College students can come over and meet with those recruiters, right? So it's a really great benefit that you get here at the consortium. So I love that you shared about that. And not just from career, right? Like academic experiences, taking classes at different campuses, clubs, organizations. So thanks for mentioning that.
I was just gonna add to the pot of advice to say to practice whatever that is. You know, if you find something that you love while you're at school, that's a dream, and to just keep practicing it and kind of like hone your skill, whether you even know that's what you're doing or not, but just keep doing it, you know? And if you are still looking for it, which is the point of college, like you're there to discover yourself and like what you're kind of interested in. So if you find something, go with it. And if you try something and it just doesn't feel right, then it's okay to stop doing it, you know, and try something else, because like everyone's saying, there's 5 colleges in one, basically. So you can go like eat at all the dining halls and like go meet other people and talk to them about what they're doing, and try a sport. Maybe it hurts, stop doing it. Like it's fun to try things. And if you find something that you're really into, that's awesome, and keep doing it.
I have to leave. I'm so sorry I was late, but I'm doing grandma duty today, and I have to get the second one to Claremont, South Claremont, from my house. But I just wanted to respond to somebody's question in the chat really quickly about, and it's kind of related to this last question as well. How do you get involved in Pitzer's pursuit of social justice? The CEC, the Community Engagement Center, did not exist when I was a student at Pitzer. However, when I was a graduate student getting my doctorate at CGU, I also was the first fellow, an alum who was a fellow, and we created that center. And my late son was able to take advantage of the center as well as the Pitzer in Ontario program. I'm not sure if that's what it's called now, but those are two amazing ways I feel to get grounded in social justice work. We have so many projects in those two programs, and they relate to real jobs and real work and people in the community. So I would encourage everyone to do that, to get involved in Community Engagement Center and then the Pitzer in Ontario program. And then the last one, I would encourage everyone, and it really does help you with your career, I feel, is to do a study abroad if you can fit it in, because that's an opportunity to really get out there and see in the rest of the world, not just in the United States, what's happening. And you can find a program that's related to your major and related to something in the real world. Thank you all. I would encourage you all, as anyone who's coming to Pitzer, also to please join the Alumni Association, because our alumni are here to help. And our alumni are meeting and mentoring students in the different fields. So if that's another way to get additional support, someone who was a Pitzer student mentor you and help you in your pursuit of a career, or even in developing once you have it. Thank you all, and I apologize again for having to leave you, but I made this commitment to my daughter today to do this. So have a good rest.
Thanks for being here, Susie. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susie.
So thank you to the panelists. You did great with our questions. Now we've got questions from the attendees. And so we could just maybe piggyback off that one that was just started that Susie said, if anybody wanted to chime in as well. A reminder, please chime in the Q&A if you haven't already. We're going to get through as many as we can in the next few minutes. But the question again was, would you be able to touch on how you got involved in Pitzer's pursuit of social justice? And maybe for all of these, maybe we have one or two of you answer, just so we can get through a lot of these questions. So is there anybody else that wanted to chime in?
Yeah, I can chime in real quick. Like I shared earlier, I just graduated. I think there are so many ways to get involved in Pitzer's social justice core value. Perhaps one of my favorites is the variety of community-based learning opportunities that are available. Susie mentioned the CASA program. I had a friend who did it. He loved it. But my favorite community-based learning experience that was super social justice oriented was the Inside Out program at Pitzer, which is where myself and other students got to go into Norco prison each week for our class and take classes alongside our inside students who were incarcerated in the Norco prison. And it was one of my favorite experiences at Pitzer and arguably one of my most life-changing experiences of college.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that program. It is phenomenal. It wasn't around when I was there. And so when I learned about it, I just thought it was fascinating. And going back for alumni weekends, going to sessions, learning about it and hearing from the students, it's changed so many of their lives. I mean, some of those students end up being Fulbright scholars. And it's amazing. And that's something, Pitzer has one of the most Fulbright scholars in the entire country. And the Inside Out program is fascinating, and these students are given opportunities and a new chance on life because of Pitzer, and Pitzer's really on the forefront of doing that. There's a lot of schools on the East Coast that have a because the I, there's another letter, and then there's Y. Those schools are trying to emulate that program as well, but we were definitely the first ones to start that.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. We'll count those two. Krista, you want to ask the next question?
Yeah. So let's see. Another one would be, let's see. What was your favorite community activity at Pitzer?
Is Kahootek still a thing? Okay, Kahootek is like it was like a couple day music festival and like food and some art involved. Like it was just like a big fun weekend in the spring, I think. And it just felt like all the 5Cs were invited. People from town came, like alumni, just everyone came and supported these like local musicians. And it was really a fun time. And that felt like just a joyful way for the community to come together that I remember fondly.
All right. Another question that was posed to us was, how does Pitzer help students connect academics to real world impact?
I mean, I think Caitlin spoke to it a little bit. We have different programs. A lot of my friends, and maybe I think it was Caitlin who said she minored in Spanish, or if that was Maya, I don't remember. And they had a lot of programs like the CASA program where you go out and you can like speak Spanish with native Spanish speakers. They have the Inside Out program. They have other things that are really getting you off campus, which I think really helps like hone those skills in a real world setting. I think my degree was a bit more like insular, but as what Susie spoke to earlier, like the study abroad program is really good at Pitzer. And I went into college thinking like, I'm like a biology major, I won't have the time to study abroad, but they have so many different programs that are approved that I was able to take biology classes abroad and keep fulfilling like my degree requirements while studying abroad. So even that, like just going out, seeing the world, learning what other countries are up to, traveling, it's all really encouraged by Pitzer. And I think that just helps with the transition to making a real world impact while you're in school and as you're transitioning out.
And I'll just jump in really quick on that too. I mean, on the supervisor perspective for student workers, I mean, study abroad is such a part of our culture here that part of our interview questions when we're hiring new office assistants or career fellows for our students is, do you have plans to study abroad next year? Because we just know, like, I mean, it's not a bad thing. Like, we just want to be prepared, but we also want to support and encourage that, that intercultural understanding value. So yes, definitely take advantage of the study abroad experiences here. Let's see, I can go to one that was asked a little earlier, unless somebody else wanted to chime in on that. No? Okay. Experiencing the core values of Pitzer, how did it in your educational lives shape your careers and personal development?
Well, I guess when you kind of think about it more technically, instead of GEs at Pitzer, like we have some GEs, of course, but ours are the core values. Like you take a social justice responsibility course, intercultural understanding, and all those types of things. So you really do hit on it in your education. And while I'm not super far in my career just yet, I do feel like those experiences have shaped what I hope to do. And I am applying to grad school right now, and I speak about a lot of the unique experiences that Pitzer offered me in my essays about why I want to do what I'm applying to do at these other universities. Yeah.
I can speak to it a little bit in terms of student engagement. They, like Caitlin said, you have to hit on these core values, which was very helpful in just like helping you pave your way through getting your degree. But I took a few courses where we were out in the field. We have like the Claremont colleges are partnered with, I think it's just a botanical garden across the street, but you help, like you do research there. We would do bird banding, we would plant, we would weed, we would do like just nature walks and learn how like ecology is working out in the field. And so I think that was combining environmental sustainability and student engagement, like very hands-on. And then that helped shape where I went from there. So that was a good opportunity for me.
I love it. And then the Robert Redford Conservancy across the way too. We recently did a tour with our office, and a lot of hands-on experience and learning with the environmental sustainability. Let's see. I've got another one here. Looking back, what's something like an opportunity or resource you wish you had taken advantage of at Pitzer more?
I just like have to share this silly thing that I've been holding back, which is that the study abroad program really, like all of my friends were going to like amazing countries. And for some reason, I just like loved Pitzer so much and like didn't actually want to leave until my senior year. I studied abroad in Canada. I did like an exchange program with someone at McGill, and it was great, and I'm so glad I did it. However, I do wish that I maybe considered a proper study abroad my junior year. Everything was great. Just wish I had gone more.
But you took advantage of it still, so.
I squeezed it in. It was great.
Yes. Anybody else? Krista, you too. You could look back on your time at Pitzer if you'd like and share something you wish you would have taken advantage of.
Oh goodness. There's so many things, and it's hard to decipher from what was there then and what's there now. Like there's so many things that if I was a student now, I would be over the moon with, all the things. I mean, back then, before some of the other dorms were built, we still had hammocks hanging in the mounds, and I never took a nap on one of them. So that's one of the ones I wish I would have done. Enjoyed a nice sunny day, having an otter pup in the hammock in the mounds. It's really something special. It's a tranquil area that you can just go to and find like a little moment of peace, but you're never alone. There's always life around. And I think that's really comforting. And also, the 5 C's, there's so much, like every day there's something going on at one of the campuses that you can take advantage of because you're part of the consortium, whether it's an athletic game, a speaker series, really awesome snackies for finals at one of the dining halls, or even in the study halls. There's just so many cool things that you're never bored. So I would find it hard pressed for, to see anybody just stuck in their room going, gosh, I don't know what to do. I think the only reason they would ask themselves that question is because there is so much to do. And when I talk to my daughter, I hear all about those things, and she's just, sometimes she's a little sad that she can't take advantage of all of them. So it's amazing.
You said snacky, and my face, the smile was there immediately. That was literally one of my friends and I's favorite parts. We'd always look forward to it. We'd be first in line sometimes.
For those listening in, if they don't know what snackies are, I'm sure you do because it makes sense. But it's literally when you're studying for finals, which you guys all had, well, in November, before the break, there would be food served to you in these different study sessions, and sometimes even by President Thacker himself. I'm sure other presidents at other colleges might have done that too within the 5 C's. And it's just to keep everybody motivated and going. You don't have to, use your dining credits or any of that, because sometimes you're just so focused and you might forget to eat or to drink water, and all of a sudden here comes food and beverage your way. And it's just another way that I feel that Pitzer is, giving you a big hug when you need it, even if you don't realize you need it.
I love it. Okay, so we'll be mindful of time. We have a few left here. So besides Pitzer's 5 core values, are there any personal values or principles that you have found especially important in your own college experience?
I mean, what's coming to mind for me is kind of the social aspect. A lot of my friends all had different majors for some reason. I had a few friends in my own major class, but I think it was just like an important lesson in listening and like learning from your peers. Like I'm having so much fun listening tonight to Jana and Caitlin. It's like we all do such different things, but it's so cool to just hear what people are passionate about and hear what they're learning about. And a lot of the friends I made at Pitzer are still like my greatest friends. So it's just, yeah, it's a nice like social community vibe for sure. And that's like my biggest takeaway. It's like full of love.
Cool.
Yeah, I was actually going to speak to the same thing, especially by my first year, like all first years lived in the same like dorm area that surrounds the pool. And I think like having such a small class, it was like 260 people, and we're all living in the same area, even though we're all coming in with different experiences, we're all pursuing different outcomes, but like just connecting with these people. And like Maya said, these people are still like my closest friends to this day, and they are doing crazy things that have nothing to do with what I'm doing. Like multiple of them are in law school, some of them are doing like a lot of social justice work, which mine's more environmental. And it's just great that like we were brought together at this place and formed those bonds. And yeah, just like the social aspect of the school and putting people together that wouldn't maybe normally be in the same spheres was pretty amazing.
I love that. We do after every graduating class, we collect data on post-graduation outcomes, right, from the Career Center perspective. And we ended up making a phone call to an alum who shared that they were out in New York and they were actually living with 3 other alum. Then they all moved out there together. And so it's just like you kind of have built these communities, and then sometimes you continue doing life with them right beyond this. So great for us. We got 3 responses at the same call, but yeah, I think that's really cool to hear. So thanks for sharing that.
I have to say, I was last year at the community alumni weekend. I was at a table and just random people came up, and they were alumni that I think graduated in 15. And my daughter was there as well, and we all just shared our experiences. And it's so nice to have alumni come back and learn what's going on now and talk about what they had then. And the people that came, they said that this is where Pitzer is where they meet up every year to reconnect with each other and with their classmates. And one thing is a lot of the some of the other 5Cs have their alumni weekend then too, so you get to see those friends as well. So it's like bringing a family back home. So that's something I thought was really cool too, because you don't hear that too often.
Thanks, Krista. All right. I think that's it, all the time that we really have. I have a few closing remarks I need to make, but was there anything else from the panelists that is just burning on your heart that you're wanting to share? No pressure. I just wanted to check. If there's any other last minute thoughts, these are, again, students that are considering Pitzer or are on the fence, or those that are already admitted and have their enrollment confirmation form ready. Any other last comments?
I feel like I've like said the word love a lot and like joy and community. And I just like, I think I said this in the very beginning, but it's like a gut feeling when you're on the mounds and you enter the campus that like, it's where you belong. And I don't know, I had that feeling, and yeah, I don't regret it at all. And it's like, it's moments like this where I feel like I'm still part of the community, and I feel like I'm right back there with everyone. And it's just, yeah, it left like a little love place in my heart. And I just, yeah, I have no new words to say. I just really enjoyed my time there.
I would say it was the best 4 years of college I could have asked for. And whenever anyone asks me, I always say I could not have imagined my college experience anywhere other than Pitzer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm echoing what everyone else said. I had a great experience. I'd say going off to college for me was scary. I'd been at the same school, K through 12. And so like it didn't click right away. It took me some time, but that happens to a lot of people going off to college. But once I found my people and really dove in and joined different clubs, joined different things, found my interests, it really all came together. And now, like I said, some of my best friends are from there. I still feel like it's a community, and they have so many resources I can still use if I want to. So if you think it's the right fit, go for it.
I think I knew Pitzer was the right fit when I got there. And then it was interesting I know from my daughter's perspective, that you know, she was on the fence with a bunch of different things, and got accepted into a lot of great schools. And but when she'd been on to Pitzer campus before, we'd taken her over there, but not looking through that lens of like, oh, maybe I'll come here. And when she got there and just kind of took a moment to take in the campus and just see the interactions that students were having and how people were smiling at her like she already belonged there, she knew it was the right fit. She's like, okay, we came home that night. She's like, I have to go here. So if anyone hasn't been to the campus, I would welcome them to come and take a tour. And also too, I mean, we're happy to have alumni reach out and talk to you. I'm sure if you reach out to admissions, people would give you a call. I would give you a call. So I'm on the alumni board. I'm happy to do that.
Krista, you might be getting 100 phone calls for all the people that are on here. So just get
That's why
ready.
I'm not sharing my cell phone number yet. No, just kidding.
Awesome. Well, a big thank you to all of our alumni, just for sharing your stories and your various insights. And thanks to everybody who joined us today, and especially for the thoughtful questions here at the end. But before we close, I did want to share a few important reminders. So our next application deadline is January 12th. And so if you are anything like me and you love bringing unnecessary anxiety on yourself by procrastinating and waiting to the last minute, you have 100 hours basically until it's due. So plan accordingly. January 12th is that application deadline. But seriously, if you haven't yet applied, we really encourage you to submit at least the initial application by then. So you actually don't need to worry about the additional materials right away, but we just ask that you take that first step. And again, this isn't just about us collecting applications. It's really about learning who you are, right? Like your interests and your passions and what excites you in life. And if I'm honest, I feel like I would have loved to go read the applications for all of our panelists today. I don't know, like if you guys can even remember back to your college application, but I just feel like they would be filled with so much just passion and just to see where you're at now today. So we really just want to get to know you if you're considering Pitzer. And then for our early decision students who have already been admitted, congratulations. Congratulations. And just your reminder is that your enrollment confirmation form is due by January 15th. So again, we will be following up with everyone who attended tonight with a link to the recording. We're going to send the alumni bios with that as well too. We hope that tonight gave you all just a better and deeper picture, clearer picture of what's possible, both during here at college and afterwards as well too. So thanks again for being here. Thanks for your interest in Pitzer, and hope everybody has a great night.